Well, last week we were talking about the top 10 reasons that if mom or dad need help at home, that Right at Home is the right company for you. And we'd like to continue doing that. We went through the first five. And Kath, why don't we kind of review what we went over last week?
So the first five that were reviewed were the first reason would be comfort and security, being the benefits of someone that was coming to your home as a caregiver meant you were able to stay in your home and that you were more familiar with your own surroundings and you sort of knew the lay of the land and maybe there was less stress by being at home. So there's some comfort and security for being cared for in your own home. The second one was the one-on-one assistance, the hands-on one-on-one assistance, so you can tailor the care directly to the one person's needs, not the caregiver's not caring for a number of people at the same time. Also, in this COVID-19 environment, then there's the chance of cross contamination because you're caring for one-on-one
You
would be
have
less.
social distancing built right in.
From other people. And then if the caregiver on top of that wears mask and gloves, then it makes it even more safe. And then independence. It gives you, if your care is tailored to just what your needs are, then it certainly affords you a lot more independence because they pop in, take care of the things they need to, they pop out, and you're independent the rest of the time.
Can take you shopping, can take you to the doctor if you have a doctor's appointment. Um, Everything that you might need just a little bit of help to do,
Yep.
we can do.
Yep. And it can be in small doses. It doesn't need to be all the time thing. And then the flexibility, which this leads into the flexibility. You can have just a few hours. We have low minimums. You can have, perhaps if you're the family caregiver, just respite care for your loved one so you can kind of go out and do some things. As things open up, hopefully there are going to be a lot more things to do for us. But right now, even in today, we get calls for folks. I just need to go to the grocery store and get us some groceries. If you could just come over for 2 hours while I go do that, that would be great. So you can always, kick the tires then and make a small commitment of time and see if you like the service, like the caregiver, whatever, and go from there. And then the fifth one is, just how stringent the background checks are, the criminal background checks, the uh, work references, and that there's bonding and insurance in place. So those are the top five that were covered last week.
And now we're continuing with the second five. Um, we have no long-term care contracts. In fact, I can remember we have dealt with clients, okay, or we've helped clients for cancer treatments. I remember this one lady, Louise, that I used to take down personally down to the University of Chicago.
Oh, downtown.
Yeah,
Oh,
downtown.
wow. Uh-huh.
And we would just have a hoot talking back and forth while she was getting her treatments. And so there are no long-term contracts with us. One of the other things, since you are being probably using your own home or you're in the home of another family member too, there's no purchasing or leasing contracts. Okay, when you move into assisted living or some of the CCRCs, there are long-term contracts you got to sign.
And so the next one is we're here for the long term growing with you. So as your needs grow or decrease if you're overcoming an illness or a surgery. So if the need is only for like a 1.5 hour bath visit, that need can be met. If the need is maybe for safety's sake, an individual maybe has dementia but is also a fall risk, maybe 24/7 care is the appropriate. So the whole thing is about customizing as your needs change to adapt the care plan to the needs.
Absolutely. Kath, over the years, now we've been in this for a long time and we've run into, we think every situation that there can be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And every week we get a new one. Can you
Yeah,
think
no.
of any, examples that you've had over the years that this situation that we're talking about is the long-term growing with you comes into play?
What? Yeah. So I can think of it a couple of ways, both ways. One is, let's say, someone back in the day. Now it looks like back in the day, like maybe someone had knee replacement or hip replacement. They would go to a skilled nursing facility for a number of weeks, and then they would come home. And or maybe the individual had suffered a stroke, and they were down at Marion Joy. I can think of someone we visited that was down at Marion Joy following a stroke, and it looked really dismal at first when they come home. But as they got back in their home setting, maybe we were going, let's say, 40 hours a week. As they got back in their home setting and started using the good physical therapists there, at Marion Joy, for example, or that in the case of like over in DuPage, I think at Providence, they have a kind of reciprocal thing where they do physical therapy out of Providence over in Downers. And I think this lady had went to there to do a physical therapy. She got better and better every week. So we start off 40 hours. Then we're like, well, let's make it 5 hours a day. So it's 30. Then it's down less and less and less. And then don't need us anymore because she was able to be independent safely. And that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, the opposite is true. I can think of maybe one of our oldest client, and as in years of age, over 100, and then maybe the client we had the longest. When we first met her, she had, I think, laid on the floor for 2 days following a stroke, and her neighbor found her. And so when we met her, she was a skilled nursing facility, not a young person then.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go just a few hours a day because she was an independent person, wheelchair bound. And we would just do the few little things she wanted, maybe 3-4 hours in the morning. And as time went along, her needs changed. And one day I remember I went over on a Saturday to hunt her cat. Her cat was sick, and she loved her cat, and she wanted the cat to go to the vet. Well, I wasn't a cat person, but the neighbor and I got the cat together. And while I was there visiting that morning with the cat search, she said, "Am I always going to have to use you folks?" And I said, "Well, just looking at the situation, there could be a possibility that we'll have kind of a longer term relationship." And as time changed, our needs, and it went to 7 days a week, and it grew. And so we were with her with whatever she needed as she got aged in place. Her needs changed, and so we go either way. We can help someone as they recovering, and we can help someone as they become more infirmed. So,
Those are excellent. I can remember our longest term client. She's up in heaven now. Okay, but we had that client for 14 years.
Wow.
And
Jim.
It started off with an hour and a half bathing visit. And, as she went through the journey of the rest of her life, we kept on increasing hours as the needs were met. And at the time she passed, I think the last year, she had 24/7 care. And you know what that does is, that is the greatest feeling in the world to us as right at home owners, is we become so much part of that family that we know everybody, and that person becomes some of the closest friends we've ever had in our lives. And it's just such a caring and giving business, and that's why we're in it.
Yep, that's right.
So, Kath, tell me a little bit about, especially these days, what's going on with staff training. This is one of the other reasons people choose Right at Home.
Yeah. So, The state of Illinois, home care is licensed as home services, which is different than home health. Just I'll take a over to the weeds a minute. Home health is helping with skilled care. A nurse visits, physical therapist, occupational therapist, maybe a bath aide if the nurse is coming. And this is Medicaid's usually the payer source, and I'm sorry, Medicare is usually the payer source. And these visits have a definite end to them. Home services, which is what we do, is helping with activities of daily living, bathing, dressing, toileting, helping with the instrumental activities of daily living, preparing a nutritious meal or being an exercise buddy or whatnot. So when you think about all the different things that folks need, their diet, just starting with whatever they have so many different diagnoses when they come home, which means that training wise, you need to be able to spot, even though we're not skilled, you sort of need to be able to spot when a condition has changed.
Sure.
So the training is very important. Now, so the state of Illinois, under their licensure, has like some guidelines for how many hours that of training an individual needs. We do at Right at Home a lot more than that. It's training because we recognize there's a real need, especially like also dementia training is required. Just as it would be in a memory care, they have to have so many hours of training. In home care, we have to have so many hours of dementia training, competency training as well. But once again, we do much more in our office. We do much more than what is required by the state of Illinois. So we start off with, we use a wonderful system that a lot of healthcare facilities and home care and home health companies use, Relias. And so our curriculum is based around understanding how to help with different activities of daily living, like say how to give a good bath visit, or a companionship, how to develop kind of an activity program based on what they're cognitively can it would stimulate them but not frustrate them, because there's a fine line between kind of, you don't want to make it too simple, but you don't want to make it so they'll give up. So the activities need to be kind of interspersed in with helping with the bath, getting that meal together, maybe cleaning that house. And then you're thinking about their quality of life. What can we do to make the quality of their day, if we're here 4 hours or 6 hours or 2 hours or 24/7, what activities could we work on? And you kind of go back and say, well, in their life, what did they enjoy doing? What's some things they enjoy doing? And then you kind of try to gear as you can those activities around things that the individual enjoyed. So our training is critical because we need to understand a kind of generally a broad range of topics.
Absolutely.
For example, a stroke, how to spot to be suspicious if someone's had a stroke. When you come in the morning, have you noticed, well, maybe their mouth is drooping, or maybe they're not using one of their their left arm or whatever. So you need to be keen observers of for changes in condition. Sometimes, another thing that doesn't get talked about enough is urinary tract infections.
I was just going to say that.
It could look a lot like some other things.
Some real weird stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cognitively and physically, if someone has a urinary tract infection, that might be the last thing that comes up. So that's always something to keep in mind, and ask the doctor, could you check for urinary tract infection? So, but just understanding that people will act differently, under certain, and we are by no means, and we don't play one on TV. We're not nurses. We're not doctors.
That's right.
We're not skilled care, but we are, we kind of, like if you were a friend, a neighbor, a family, we're going to help with the things that's why they call it activities of daily living. We're going to help with those things, and we're going to be keen observers, just like a family member or a neighbor that pops over to help is going to be.
There we go. And we even have, caregivers or CNAs that have advanced training in their, in their skills, such as the utilization of a Hoyer lift.
Right.
In fact, I know we have one of our staff, Athena, is a CNA, and she is just fantastic to have around because, in fact, we just sent her to get her new CNA I'm sorry, licensed on dementia. There was new dementia.
Certified dementia practitioner
Certified
training.
dementia. So she is now certified. So she's going throughout our caregivers and getting them trained up on dementia. But it's great to have her around because she knows how to use a Hoyer lift.
It's important.
She actually, when we have situations out in the field, where somebody might not be trained on that. She's Johnny on the spot. We send her out to our client's house with the new caregiver, and they go through that process until the caregiver has it down pat. So it's great to have, and training just continues. And now with COVID-19 out there, Kath, I'm going to ask you: are you caring for any COVID-19 clients at this time?
No, we aren't currently. No.
Are you preparing for it?
We are preparing for it, and so the preparation starts. One of the things it starts with the pandemic training, and I think Relias again. I think there's 5 courses just on like an infection control, COVID-19 itself, PPEs, proper use of masks, gloves, donning them and doffing them, etc. So training is a component of getting ready to gear up to care for someone that's COVID positive. And then you need to look, obviously in any group of people, you need to look at those that are not just willing to care in the caregiving crowd, but you need to look at folks that are they able, and you have to look at kind of the CDC for guidance there on is the person maybe have a history of COPD or some immune disorders that they would be at greater risk than the normal caregiving population if they were around someone. So not only do you have to look at your staff on who is willing to care, but who is able to care for individuals. So then, so just making sure everyone is comfortable with, especially the gear, and how to, when you go to the home, how to keep, maybe definitely the surfaces clean.
Yes.
And then also, to be keen observers once again of the person's condition day to day. Has it changed? And when to call for more additional medical help if their condition maybe has taken a turn for the worse. So as someone on a call we were on, I guess last Friday, kind of aptly pointed out from another state, they said, we're not, the world with COVID-19, it's a new normal, and we've got to all adjust that this is our new normal, and getting ready to care for folks in the home setting or in a facility or wherever. Everyone needs to feel comfortable in providing adequate assistance with activities of daily living, but keeping everyone safe.
There we go. And that's what we're all about. And, we're going through the same process right now, not actively caring for anybody with COVID-19, but preparing. We have our shades, especially with PPE is
face shields,
face shields, gowns.
Yep.
We're all out there looking, and hey, if anybody knows where to get more gowns, let us know. Yeah. Call one of our right at homes. So, let's go to number 9, communication. So, on this subject, as we said, we become part of the family, and the best way to keep everybody abreast of what's going on, Kath has mentioned over numerous times during the show here, is how our caregivers keep us abreast of what's going on in the home. Can you cover some of that?
Yep. So we at our office we do it kind of a number of ways. We've got the tried and true, the supervisory visits, which are required to go out to the home. But now with COVID-19, we sort of supplement the home visits actually largely are Zoom meetings, where usually at our office, the staffing coordinator or myself or the care coordinator will call the caregiver's smartphone, and the client use the smartphone for their end of the Zoom meeting, and we'll look to see, can look to see the PPEs on, is their name badge on, kind of panoramic view of the surroundings. We ask rounding questions, sort
Mhm.
of the client and the caregiver at that time. Are they thinking some training or whatnot? We're asking those questions, and so the Zoom meetings for the day are kind of in lieu of the supervisory visits, but we'll be going back to those when things open up and we're able to be allowed to kind of go out and renew those that type of communication. But also, in addition to the Zoom meetings, we have, because we talk about scheduling a lot, we have
Mhm.
naturally the staffing coordinator and myself and others are going to have reasons just to be talking about scheduling with maybe the client's family, whatever, and you're always getting feedback
Mhm.
on how things are going. So then, in addition to that, we have more formal ways. So through ClearCare, our operating system, the caregivers have to, at the end of their shift, say did they or didn't they deliver whatever the activities of daily living that's on their care plan. So if they didn't do it, then they have to explain why not.
Mhm.
And then also that if there's a change of condition on ClearCare, that's when they would report that they have observed that. So also, we have a notebook in the home, a daily care record, where they kind of, in a narrative form, write down the things they help with. So if a family member comes over, they can maybe has only visits, maybe they work during the week and only visit during the weekend. They can go through, look in the book, and see, get up to speed on what's been done. Also, caregiver to caregiver, they can find out how that's going. If they're going to the doctor, then maybe they want to review kind of through there before
Mhm.
they go to the doctor to see if there's any red flags that have been identified in the care notes,
There
that
we
type of thing. So
We're also in communication, especially when somebody comes home from the hospital
yep,
and they have home health there.
yep.
We're communicating with the nurses and doctors that are
Therapists, yep.
and therapists that are
Mhm.
taking care of our clients at that time,
Right.
and everybody is on the same page.
Right.
So, and then the last one of why you should choose Right at Home if you need home care is the confidence in knowing we care for you.
Mhm.
We take this real seriously, don't we, Kath?
We sure do. We sure do.
And I-
Very much.
And I have to say, throughout, a lot of people don't know how big Right at Home is. We are a global company. We have, I forgot how many countries we're in.
Um,
A lot.
A lot.
We're in a lot of other countries, and so I mean, our corporate, we have the corporate backing of knowing what else is going on around the world, and we communicate that corporately in a
Mhm.
lot of cases, and a lot of great ideas come from a lot of other places.
Yes, they do. Sharing of good ideas.
Sharing.
Yep.
So you can have the confidence that when you hire Right at Home, that you have a major company with a tremendous amount of resources
Mhm.
with you. So, what I'd like to do now, Kath, can you share a couple of your testimonies?
Sure. And if you ever wonder about any company, but Right at Home, we always encourage you. We're a number of our Illinois offices this year were caring stars, meaning we have a lot of positive feedback,
Mhm.
and there's criteria for getting to be a caring star. And so I just want to read some of the things. One is from our client, and this what happens is they call a percent of our clients and talk to them directly. This company called Home Care Pulse.
Mhm.
And their reviews are hardwired to caring.com. So if it's a negative review, a positive review, whatever, we have no control over what's said and what's published. So here's one. It says, all the people have been very good. Uh, okay. It has helped me more than her and relieves the stress, meaning the client's loved one wife, for me knowing that she is taken care of. They're a great company. They fit our needs. Here's another one. They observe things that I don't observe all of the time. My loved one is 94 and he doesn't always communicate with me, but he shares more with these people who come into the house. The training of their people is good, and they're always willing to adapt to our home and our needs.
I'm going to share two real quick. They're dependable and follow instructions, so there's less worry when I'm not here. This is coming from the daughter about her mom. They are sensitive and caring towards my mom. They help her with her exercises, and they help her to and from the washroom. They help with meals. They provide conversation, which is very needed in these
Companionship. Yep.
companionship.
A lot of loneliness out there.
They have compassion and understanding with my mom. They're very punctual and very professional. And one more, she almost feels like part of the family. They're talking about the caregiver. She fits right in. She cares and is gentle with my husband. She gives him to do what he wants to do. She is fun to be around, and I enjoy having her and talking to her. And this is the wife.
Mhm.
So also
That's
a companion
very nice.
for the
Yep.
for the
Mhm.
wife. Yeah.
Yep.
She does a great job with my husband, and so
That's very nice.
I thought
Very
that
nice.
was fantastic. So we're going to
Okay.
wrap it up.
Yep. So, are you compassionate? Are you one of those angels that just love to serve people? Right at Home's looking for you. Apply today at rightathome.net.
Our show was brought to you by Right at Home, the 4 pillars of right care from Right at Home. Mean your loved one is being cared for by the right people, doing the right things, the right ways, for the right reasons. Make the right choice today. Call Right at Home at 877-ELDER99. That's 877-353-3799. Don't touch that dial.